If you lied to me, I would call you a liar. He lied to me. He lied to people of the state of Nevada. I don't back off that at all.
Let's get some reaction now from the White House. Brett McGurk is the director for Iraq over at the National Security Council. Mr. McGurk, thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks, Wolf.
Well,
Glad to be here.
Those are tough words from the Senate Majority Leader. What's your response when he says that the president has lied to the American people?
I listened to those comments. My main response to what I just heard Senator Reid say is the way he was characterizing General Petraeus' comments. I just, Wolf, returned from Iraq last week. We got full briefings from General Petraeus, General Odierno, General Gaskin in the West, out in Fallujah, about what they're seeing. And Senator Reid makes the point that the long-term solution is a political solution. We all agree with that. General Petraeus has said that, and President Bush has said that. But General Petraeus has also testified and explained, and I have the opportunity to speak with Harry Reid this week, that you need a baseline of security to get that political solution in place. And what this strategy does is fundamentally different on the diplomatic line, on the economic line, on the security line, and on the political line. And it does two things. It provides space for the Iraqi political leaders to pursue reconciliation at the national and local level, and it also provides room to increase the capacity and effectiveness of the Iraqi security forces, and that's critical.
This is, you heard Senator Reid, and in his speech earlier in the day over at the Wilson Center, he totally disagrees. He says the new strategy has been underway for a couple months already. He says American casualties are increasing, not decreasing. He says untold thousands of Iraqi civilians have died. 2 million, he says, have fled the country as refugees over the past 4 years. He says militias have not been disbanded. They're continuing to cause terror. And he goes on and on and on, saying that the Iraqis themselves are not doing what the United States clearly would like them to do.
Well, let's back up and look at where we are. At the end of last year and in the fall, we did a comprehensive reassessment of the situation and concluded that the strategy we had in place simply was not effective in post-Samara Iraq. Senator Reid seems to be addressing a situation mainly for his prescriptions for what to do in the pre-Samara world. President Bush has said, he said last week, we hope to be substantially reducing our troops at this time, and we thought we would be doing so. But post-Samara, with the rise of sectarian violence and what was happening in the capital city, it was impossible to prosecute other missions. That included going after al-Qaeda. That included training Iraqi security forces. That included advancing the political reconciliation process. And the unanimous conclusion was we had to get the level of sectarian violence in Baghdad down. We had to get the effectiveness of the Iraqi security forces up. And we had to give breathing space for the Iraqi political leaders to pursue reconciliation. That's happening now. Now, General Petraeus said yesterday the situation in Iraq is severely challenging, and there are disappointing days, such as the day we had last Wednesday with the suicide bombs in Baghdad. When the president, though, spoke to the American people on January 10th, he said even if the strategy works exactly as it is designed to work, we are still going to see days like we had last Wednesday. Al-Qaeda's strategy is spectacular attacks to demoralize the American people, to wreck the political reconciliation process, and that is exactly what they're trying to do.
Listen to this little clip from Democratic Congressman John Murtha. I interviewed him in the previous hour. Listen to this.
We're going to redeploy sometime this year, and the president better start planning for it.
Is he right?
Well, the decision on troop commitments in Iraq will be made, as they should be, and as the president has always said, by the commanders on the ground in Iraq. And we got briefings on this, and when I was in Iraq last week and Secretary Gates got briefings on this, we're going to look at a variety of factors. And that will include the effectiveness of the Iraqi security forces, their ability to independently handle operations. It'll include what the enemy is doing. It'll also include the level of progress on the political front. Let me address one more thing that Senator Reid said. He keeps saying it's a political solution, not a military solution. And yet the bill in the Senate cuts $243 million from key programs that are part of the strategy to advance political reconciliation. That includes building up local governance capacity. It includes our PRT efforts. And one more thing, Wolf, he also says nothing is happening on the diplomatic front. Next week in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, there will be 2 ministerial-level conferences, one a neighbors conference plus the P5 plus the G8, one a conference with the UN in the lead and Iraq for a 5-year program by which Iraq becomes a self-sustaining economy in exchange for financial commitments from the international community. These are things you have to take into account, give the strategy a fair shake, and I would ask Senator Reid to work with us Stop the political charade, and let's get a bill that we can sign to get our troops in the field and our civilians in the field the resources they need to advance the strategy.
Brett McGurk is the director for Iraq at the National Security Council. We're happy you're back safe and sound from Iraq and back at the White House. Thanks very much for coming in.
Thanks for having me, Walt.